if we were to utilize the timeline that is set up in the brochure, that folded, the bifold brochure, it tells us to have our organizational meeting in May, to set it up at the beginning of May and have the organizational meeting in May. Is that going to work for you? In other words, are your kids going to be already engaged in a sport that maybe we wouldn't get full advantage of having an organizational meeting that late in the spring? Would maybe an April meeting, late April meeting be better for you?
April would be
just
better.
Something to think about.
There's a lot of baseball that starts in May.
So many parts to baseball.
Yeah. Once we hit March, they're going to be in baseball, okay? Because the practices start in March.
Joanne, one thing we do is we have a family picnic every April, and we launch rockets at West Park, and the parents just love it, and the kids love it. And something like that is a great thing to recruit these new parents to come to.
And that's one good question too is, what do you think that as volunteers in your PAC, what do you guys need from us professionals as far as the council and the district? What do you guys see as needs to make this program successful?
A couple of years back we had like a postcard that had like activities on it. I don't know if you guys maybe would have had like a Cub Scouts symbol on front, and then you would have like the PAC would print it off with their next 3 months of activities and who was in charge. And
we can certainly do something. We would prefer in that case just to do an 8.5 by 11 flyer. But yeah, we can certainly, if you guys need some materials like that, what I would consider collateral, we can easily help you guys with that. We can do that.
We also have other little things like that. Bookmarks are something that we've used. I know that PAC 134 out of Town Meadow, they did a really good job about pushing bookmarks. And that was one of the things that they fostered through their relationship with their librarian and a teacher. They got together and said, hey, would this be okay? And they talked to the librarian personally, and, had a one-on-one conversation with them. They let them bring in bookmarks, and they had 5 or 6 kids that within a week call and say, hey, I got the bookmark in the thing, I want to join Cub Scout. So it's just little things like that, little creative ways that we can help you guys as well figure out just different promotion materials to get to you guys.
One of the things that has become quite obvious to us over the years, and how many of you guys have been doing Cub Scouting for 3 to 5, 6 years? Anyone like that? Okay, now do you guys remember 3, 5, 6 years ago when we had a fall school night, what would happen? Does anyone remember?
The parents would sit there at the table with their hands folded and looking at each other.
Yeah, well, and the reason that happened, well, what contributed to that, we also had this district team that would swoop in like superstars. We'd come in and we'd put on a very exact, very specific program that wasn't unique to your guys' PAC whatsoever. And it was fine. We got a lot of kids to sign up. But what we've started doing since then is that, this isn't really unique to show this PAC's flavor. We want them to talk about what they're doing. And so what we've tried to do is let you guys take some more ownership of it, talk about the great things you're doing, having your leaders explain it in their uniforms. And what we found is that parents are generally happier with that because there's less pressure. You have less people sitting around the table staring at each other. And it's really just been a much more positive experience. So we're looking to continue that, where you guys really, again, take the lead on this, and we're there to support you in the background, but we certainly have district volunteers that can come out and support you in any way necessary. But we definitely see ourselves more in the kind of the support role with resources and doing whatever you guys ask of us to do to help you out.
I had another thing to say. I think you're going to find that in this council, in general, this spring tiger recruiting is going to be the way to recruit tigers. Okay, this is the up-and-coming thing. This is the way we're going to recruit tigers in the spring. We will recruit them in the fall as well because we recruit everybody in the fall. On the opposite side of the page, just as Clay said at the beginning of the program, if you have other areas, other grade levels in your PAC that you would like to kind of fill in, we can augment the program to be able to do recruitment in those grades as well in the spring. But the spring recruitment is basically a tiger recruitment program at this point.
Do they have any idea about attrition on this? The only thing that worries me about recruiting in the spring is we generally have an issue with attrition over the summer. Even though we've got summer events and we have get-togethers and we do things, we still have a decent amount of attrition in the older boys. Have they looked at what kind of attrition there is with tigers who show an interest in
Yes,
the spring?
This program, yes.
Yeah, the retention that this lady who developed the program, she was just a den leader in Bay Lakes, Wisconsin. So the retention that she was able to have, the retention, not the attrition, but the retention was 85%.
Just a quick note, obviously it's really important that person that you pick to be the face of scouting. That goes to the school, fosters that relationship with those kindergarten teachers. That's really important. I know Joanna talked about the kinds of skills that the den leader should have. But I think you need, first step, really to think about kind of the characteristics of that person that you want to represent scouting. That person you want to send. That's kind of an important decision. So somebody that, as Joanne said, is familiar with schools and so forth, but also someone who took the best face of scouting.
Are there any other questions that you guys have about this? If you other things that's still lingering for you guys?
Of recruiting leaders early. Another thing that gives us an opportunity to do is to get those leaders trained before the fall starts and get some actual official training under the belts. Are there plans to run Tiger Cup specific, leaders specific?
We haven't set those dates up yet,
Okay.
but that would certainly be obviously the next step. And then you need to be thinking too about, we're in the mode of setting goals and beginning this journey to excellence award concept. So in light of that, what would you expect to be able to do? What kind of goals would you like to set for yourself? How are we going to measure if this is working or not?
Well, I mean, generally speaking, our I don't know how to put this. I've noticed over the last couple of years our tiger numbers have decreased. And as the only thing that I've noticed that's changed over that time period are the flyers that we send home with the parents. In years past, they had the Cub Scout logo big, huge on top, and all the information below. It was very plain, but it was also very evident what it was. The brochure that we've been sending home the last couple of years, even though it's absolutely gorgeous, is very difficult to figure out that it's actually for scouting. So that would be one thing I think might help us. It's hard for me to say what would be a good number. Typically, we used to get around 10. Each of our ranks had about 10 kids in it. So if we could get back to that point, I think it'd be ideal.
A huge selling point is the older boys. If you get your older boys to wear their, not necessarily scout uniforms, but Class B, get them talking it up because they can get into schools every day. They're the ones that are bringing those things, that you can give them things to hand out to the buddies on the bus when they see their older brothers, their big friends that are wearing the uniforms, wearing their shirts. I know it's hard to get them to wear these sometimes, but the Class B, if you come up with some cool shirts and some things in that regard, they're the big sellers of the program.
I was going to mention that, as far as wearing the Class Bs, if you can coordinate that, say,
Yeah.
on your pack night, and then you see 10 kids around school that are wearing the same shirt, why are you wearing that shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, tonight's our pack meeting, we're going to do this, and of course, you got to have the exciting program on the backside. I mean, you got to have the kids excited about what's going on in the pack. So,
Top 10 reasons.
yeah.
The other one is to tie it in with your school's colors. So if you have a spirit day, if it's our school's blue, we have blue shirts. So tie that in so it kind of gives them a reason to wear that shirt.
The one thing that I've noticed in my past is that the Tiger parents, because we start off the year, boom, popcorn sales. And that's like a couple of weeks after we've recruited them. They don't really understand what's going on. They don't understand the process of how we do our popcorn sales. It's really difficult to get them up to speed comfortably. And so I think this is just one more reason that will give us even more time to prepare them for that, because it's going to happen at the same time every year. So, but being able to get them prepared for it, having that extra time is going to be a good